Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again for another segment of Gab with Garima. This is episode number 3, which sounds so funny because I think I'm talking about some kind of like serious episode or whatever. And then I hear this great Village music that starts and it just makes me giggle every single time. So before I get started, I would love to know what you guys think about our intro music. Does anybody have any comments? Do they think it's cool, not so cool? We were trying to go for like the Arabian Nights theme, with the genie in the bottle kind of thing. And that's where it came from. But it's one of those things that makes me smile. I love it. I think I'm going to change my ringtone to it. But I don't know if it's just kind of cheesy. I tend to be really, really cheesy. So if you don't know me, just know that I tend to have very cheesy ideas and think that they're great. And most of the time they're not. So if you think it's cheesy, if you have any feedback, please let me know. Anyway, so on our third segment today, we're talking about which of the 4 F's is your why. And this one is really important to me. Oh, so CA Sumit Kumar, you like it. Okay, awesome. Good to know. Thanks for joining. So we're talking about which of the 4 F's is your why. And we're really trying to figure this out, not just for ourselves, which is so important, but using this as a tool to help motivate your employees and to speak to team members and to get everybody moving in the same direction. So this has been a big topic here at Biller Genie because we have been growing like crazy. I mean, we went from 4 or 5 full-time employees for Biller Genie at the end of last year to now we have 16 onshore FTEs plus 10 offshore. I mean, it's kind of unprecedented and it's been in, 8, 9 months and during a pandemic. And so it's really cool. But if everybody's not going in the same direction, everybody's not trying to grow the same way, then it's hard. And how do you really keep that motivation? Well, for me, I think it all starts with you. What motivates you and how do you really figure that out? So to figure out your why, let's start with this. I want everybody to try to answer this question. What do you love to do? Like, what do you love to do? So it could be the craziest thing. I love to dance. I love to sing. I love to talk to people. I'm not great at any of those things. I just really enjoy doing them. And if you watch our Village in the Bottle video, you know that that's not really my singing is not really my forte. But hey, guess what? I love it. What else do I love to do? I love people. So I absolutely love interacting with people. I am one of those people that has a hard time collaborating or being on my own. Like I like to work with people and be around people and run errands and bounce ideas off of people. Like that's really, really important to me. I love interaction with people and, of course, a specific type of person, but I really do like interacting with people. So what do you love to do? Like if anybody have any answers, what do you love to do? What is something that you are, man, I am so passionate about that. I love to do that. Any answers, anybody? I'm so glad that you guys are so interactive. Well, I'm sure that this will become more interactive. And if you have any tips on how to do that, let us know that too. But the question is, what do you love? Why is this important? Because if you don't love what you're doing every day, it sucks. And that's not motivating at all. I do not want to be any place where I'm doing something that I hate. Now, part of any job is to do things you hate. For example, I'm a mom. I love being a mom. My kids are awesome. Sometimes, though, they're completely batshit crazy. And you have to take the good with the bad, So the fact is that as much as I love being a mom and I love being with them and being around them and getting to the opportunity to be their mom, I don't really love some of the moments. There's certain things about that I don't like, especially like when they were really, really tiny and they'd have like a diaper explosion. That wasn't so fun. And anybody who tells you that that was fun is out of their minds. But that's, things that we love to do. I love to be a mom, but there's certain things about it I don't love. Zoya says that she loves to teach people new things and she's amazing at it. She is fantastic at training. And, for Zoya works here at Biller Genie and it's crazy because I met Zoya dancing actually a long time ago. And it was great because she came up to me at first class when I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody what was going on. I was coming into a new class and she just took her time and really taught me. And she loves doing that. So find out what you love. That is the most important thing that you're going to look for. Number 1, right? Number 2, what are your innate abilities? And now we're not going to call these innate abilities anymore. We're going to call them assets. What are your assets? Right? So what are those things that you were just born with? And a lot of times this comes into nature versus nurture, right? Like, is there something that you learned as a child that you just think, like, I learned from my 3rd grade teacher how to use a planner because I was super disorganized and extremely forgetful. So I learned how to use a planner. And now I use a planner every single day. Krishna says you love to serve people. So that's great. That's fantastic. Teaching people things, serving people, like all of these are things that you love to do, and you can use it for your motivation as long as that's what you're doing. Then we figure out what our innate ability is. So it doesn't need to be that something you're born with per se, but something that you've been doing forever, right? So something I've been doing forever is using a planner. I'm super organized because that's how I run my life, because I learned that in third grade. So because that has become one of my assets. One of my assets is that I have become pretty organized because I am by nature a pretty forgetful person. And so I need to write everything down and make sure that I keep it all in one spot and do all of that in order to be organized. But that's an asset of mine. I can bring that to an organization. I can be an organized person. I can be the person who keeps the project plans. I can be the person who has all of the information and makes sure that everybody's on track. That's what I'm good at. That's what works for me. So that's my innate ability, right? What else are we looking for? The next question, after we know what we love and what our innate abilities are. So I just told you, I love people. My innate ability, one of them is organization. And I also think one of my innate abilities is I like to talk in a pretty positive fashion. Like that's really important to me. Like being positive and talking to people in that fashion is really, really important to me. So now I know what I love and my innate ability. And so my question now is, where do I add the greatest value? So I'm going into a job or into a position, and if they told me that I would have to work at a desk and not talk to anybody and crunch numbers all day, I would add zero value. Not because I don't know how to crunch numbers, because I actually really like math, but because I don't know how to add value to that. There are people who are much better at that than I am, who are better at crunching numbers, who are better at working with that kind of thing, who love that environment, who need that quiet, who need that kind of work environment to be successful, right? So that's cool. That's them, not me. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. We're having lots of conversations. It's a lot of chaos, but I can organize it. That's important for me, right? So now I know where I add value. The last question, once you know all that, is how do you measure success? And this one is the hardest one. Hardest one. Because when we talk about how we measure success, this is different for everybody. And too often, as humans or as people or in a capitalist country, we think that it's money. And we think that we measure success by the number of cars that we have, or the size of our house, or the designer bag that we're holding, or something else. And more often than not, that's not what actually is the measure of success. The measure of success is always going to be one of the three F's. It is fortune, which is money, of course, right? And what you do with that. And it's not just the fortune itself, but it's what that represents, that human stock quality that it represents. It could be fame. Now, fame doesn't mean being a Kardashian and being on, TV all the time, but fame means acknowledgement, appreciation. It means that you need, or you feel like you're successful when someone is appreciating the things that you're doing, right? That could be your measure of success. And you're feeling like you are growing even within your company. You're being recognized within the company. You're being recognized within your peer group. Maybe you're being recognized in your family, but that is the measure of fame. Family. Maybe family is what motivates you. Maybe, and that could be anything. That doesn't mean your own specific nuclear family. It could be that you have a long history of people who did things a certain way, and therefore you want to do it a different way, or you want to follow exactly in their footsteps and make them proud. Or maybe it's that you want to help something for your family. So you want to provide for your family, or build a larger family, or take care of your family in a specific way, or teach your family certain traits. That's what family means. But it's always one of those three things. I guarantee if you think about how you measure success, it's probably one of those three. For me, like I said, I love people. So I fit into the appreciation. For me, that's really, really important. I need to know that I'm making a difference. That's the most important thing for me in terms of measuring my success. I need to feel like I am contributing, like I am being acknowledged for that contribution, and that I'm being appreciated for what I bring to the table. And that doesn't mean I need a pat on the back every 2 seconds. I'm not saying that we need to give trophies for everything, but I am saying that I know what motivates me. I could be working in an environment where I get paid a ton of money, but if I don't feel appreciated, I know that I will not be fulfilled. That's just not how I am, right? Also, for me, family is a major driver. I'm very, very, very close to my parents, to my in-laws, and my kids. And so making all of them proud and giving them something to either aspire to or feel good about in terms of my achievements is really, really important to me. So if I had to put those three in order for me, mine would go fame, family, and then fortune at the very end, which sounds funny, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of people who meet me are like, oh my God, you seem like all the cool stuff and you love fashion. And sure, I do, but that's absolutely not the things that drive me or make me excited in my role. So what is the point of all of this? What is the point of finding your why? Well, when we talk about the measure of success and all that, it's really hard to motivate people if you don't know what you're trying to be motivating them to. If you're just trying to say like, yo, I need a project and you need to complete it and that just needs to happen by this date and that's it, and that's the way you speak to them, yeah, that might work for a little bit because they're trying to prove themselves. But if you don't actually know where they're going in life, it's your job as their manager, as their employer, as their leader to get them to their end target. If they don't achieve their goals, you don't achieve yours. So if their goal is to be appreciated, if their goal is to make more money than they've ever made, if their goal is to build a family, if those are their goals and you're not helping them achieve them, you're failing as a leader. So you need to go back and see, what are those goals? So start with looking at your organization and saying, hey, what motivates this person? What do I think it is? And we always think it's money. We always think, oh, well, the reason someone left is because they were getting paid underpaid. Usually it's not the money itself, but it's usually what the money represents. Does that money make them feel like they're paying under their value? Does it make them feel like their stock is worth less? Does it make them feel less appreciated? Does it not allow them to take care of their family? Right? That's the representation of money. That's just the byproduct. So first figure out what, for each employee, for every single person on your team, how do they measure success? How, and don't, this is not a question that you ask them. This is not but yeah, during the interview process, you ask them, hey, where are you trying to be? What's important to you? But you get to know them. You get to know the individual. What have they done in the past? What does it seem like they're striving for? What are their long-term goals? When someone says, hey, in the next 5 to 10 years, I want to run my own business and be super successful. The next question should be, okay, why? What do you want to do with that? And some people say, well, I really just want to get to that point and then I want to retire and I want to travel with my family. Okay, so now I know that families are a motivator. Some people will say, I want to have as much money as humanly possible. I want to put in the stocks, and that's really, really important to me. Some people will say, I want to be known as the number one person in the next 5 or 10 years, or I want to influence people in this specific way. That's fame. So find out or figure out what is the measure of success for your employees and for the people around you. Once you know that, then again, go backwards. Where are they adding value? So if they say that, they're really looking to make a whole lot of money and that's their goal. Okay. Then look at their innate abilities and say, do they add value in those places? Because if their innate ability, for example, in our case, if someone's innate ability is exactly the same as mine and we're the same people, does that necessarily add value to the organization? Probably not. If we're a little bit different and we can bounce ideas off of each other, then absolutely. But for the most part, if we have the same innate abilities and we're bringing the exact same value, it's not doing a whole lot. So the goal is to find people that kind of go into your puzzle pieces, right? And say, okay, well, I'm really good at this and someone else is really good at that. So I can come up with ideas, but you know what? I really need someone to help me flesh those out. And I really need someone who understands everything behind that. So we have this great, our VP of marketing is awesome, Scott Burgess. He's amazing because we work well together because we can chat through it, talk through it, have this full conversation. And I'm really good at just spitballing and brainstorming and having a bunch of ideas. Whereas he likes to take his time and really research and make sure that it's the right information being presented in the right way and going into the details and making sure that we're doing it the right way and rolling things out the right way. And that's important. So making sure that you have innate abilities that are complementary to each other. And then making sure that, because that's how you're going to add value. That's how that person is going to add value for you. And then the most important thing is asking your team every day, do you love it? Do you love it? Do you like what you're doing? Are you happy? What's going on, dude? Are you enjoying this? Is this good for you? Is this a good fit? Because if they don't love it, they're not going to stick around. It doesn't matter how much you like them. It doesn't matter how much you pay them. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if the economy's slow and you think that they can't get another job. If they don't love it, they're not going to be there. So make sure that anybody that you're talking to, you first of all know their F's, right? Know which F is your why. So is it fame, fortune, or family? And then for each person who works with you or for you, make sure that you know which F is their why, what their innate abilities are, and how to capitalize on them to add value. And most importantly, make sure that you and them absolutely love what they do. Otherwise, you will never find your realm of genius. That's all I have for today. I know it's super short, but does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything like that? No? All right, cool, guys. If you have any questions later, please feel free to ask. We always do respond on social network, and we really appreciate you guys following us and helping us with this. And all of your comments and asking questions is great. So thank you so much. Talk soon. Bye.